Ukrainian Armed Forces officer Serhiy Tsehotskyi notes the Russian forces are withdrawing troops from other areas to redeploy them to the Pokrovsk direction. He said this on the Espreso TV channel. Currently, assaults are ongoing. The Russians mostly move in cars and buggies. It has become a pattern that they use civilian Zhiguli cars of various models, noted Tsekhotskyi. According to an armed forces officer, the Russian troops are actively using the weather conditions to move en masse, under the cover of fog or at night. However, Ukrainian Defense Forces detect the enemy and try to destroy them on the far outskirts. Overall, in the Pokrovsk direction, the Ukrainian Defense Forces are eliminating about 300 Russian occupiers daily, give or take. We can see that the invaders are not giving up on their intentions. To the southwest of Pokrovsk, the Russians are trying to deploy more forces. There is also information that the Russian army is withdrawing units from other directions, but they are not achieving the success that they had hoped for. Russians attack so often along so many axes against undermanned Ukrainian positions that some of the assaults are bound to get across the mine-infested, artillery-blasted, drone-patrolled no man's land. More and more of these assaults involve cars, trucks and vans, having lost around 15,000 armoured vehicles in their wider war on Ukraine, far more purpose-made combat vehicles than sanctions-squeezed Russian industry can replace. Russian regiments and brigades are increasingly riding into battle in civilian vehicles. Russian commanders knew the vehicle shortage was coming. This fall, some regional commands began hoarding cars, trucks and vans. The critical case has apparently come for the regiments in Luhansk. Russian forces occupy most of the oblast and are determined to capture the rest in coming months. The enemy's military command in the theatre of operations until March 2025 will try to reach the administrative borders of Donetsk and Luhansk oblasts, the Ukrainian Center for Defense Strategies noted.
With the Kremlin spending billions of dollars on the war against Ukraine, Russian regions are living in poverty. Outside Moscow and some other major Russian cities, there is no healthcare, no roads, no gas supply. The scandalous Russian State Duma deputy Andriy Gurulev spoke frankly about this on the air of the propaganda talk show Evening with Vladimir Solovyov. Gurulev visited his small homeland in Transbaikalia and saw the light. He suddenly discovered that Russia is a poor and backward country. I just returned from my native Transbaikalia. We have a village called Gazimursky Zavod. There are a lot of people who have come here, but there is no medicine. 3 sheds from 1929 and a Soviet barrack-type building called a district hospital. Of the 22 doctors, only 8 are available. Maternity hospitals have been cut everywhere. Taking a woman from there to the maternity hospital is the same as taking her from Penza to Moscow. It's because of the distance. Everything is frozen there. It's called winter asphalt. In March, everything will peel off after the sun. And who are you going to take along these potholes? To have an appendectomy, you have to drive 6 hours along the gullies. Unfortunately, this is not only in Transbaikalia. This is a global problem, Gurulev said. He also admitted that in its aggression against Ukraine, the Kremlin relied on the impoverished population of the Russian hinterland. It was they who were thrown en masse to the front in the meat assaults. You come to a village of 350 to 400 people. How many are in the SVO? 50 to 55 people. Imagine the percentage. Serious, extremely serious. There is no gas, nothing, said the Russian deputy. The Russian economy has been financing a full-scale war against Ukraine for 3 years. Military spending has spun up the inflation flywheel, drained labor resources, and taken away most of the reserves that were accumulated in peacetime. For Russia, 3 years of war means 3 years of living under the harsh sanctions of the West. Despite Russia's efforts to circumvent the sanctions pressure, the latter is taking its toll and, along with high defense spending, is gradually undermining the aggressor country's economy. The non-military sector of the Russian economy cannot produce enough goods to meet demand and absorb the significant amount of money that is being pumped into the economy. This is happening amid the shortage of labor resources that were taken away for the war. Because of mobilization, some people left the country in 2022. Sanctions are also having an impact, and as a result, a large number of Western companies in Russia have closed their offices and left the country. The Russian military police are searching for a group of their soldiers in the Kursk region. According to the official version, 6 soldiers escaped, taking their uniforms and weapons with them. This was reported by the Russian resource Astra, citing sources in the emergency services of the Kursk region. The incident happened at the beginning of the month in the village of Kurilovka in the Kursk region. On January the 7th, commanders checked personnel in the area of the village of Kurilovka and found 6 people missing. It is unknown when exactly they escaped. All those who escaped belonged to the same unit 87852, based in Dagestan. They are searching for those who escaped, the resource reported. He specified that all those who escaped fought as part of the assault company V. The soldiers disappeared along with their machine guns. It is important to note that Kurilovka is located right on the demarcation line in the Sudzhansky district of Kursk. The Ukrainian Defense Forces were actively advancing there in early January, which is probably what caused the disappearance of the Russian Armed Forces stormtroopers. It is possible that they were captured by the Ukrainian Armed Forces or were eliminated in the battle, and the Russians recognized them as deserters in order to avoid paying compensation to their relatives. The Ukrainian Armed Forces continue their combat mission in Kursk region to hold part of the enemy territory in their hands. On January the 16th, the press service of the Ukrainian Airborne Forces shared information that 27 enemy soldiers were captured in the Kursk region. The source writes that this concerns not only sergeants but also Putin's officers. Moreover, these are both enemy paratroopers and representatives of the motorized regiments of the Russian Armed Forces. They surrendered themselves so as not to die for Putin. They were immediately given first aid. The paratroopers are calling on other Putin soldiers to surrender without a fight in order to save their lives. Meanwhile, analysts from the Institute for the Study of War report that as of January the 15th, Putin's army has not advanced in the Kursk region. One of the Russian war correspondents stated that Makhnovka is not under the full control of the Russian armed forces. Also, ISW did not find any visual confirmation that Putin's army is in full control of Tsekhotskyi Perechnoy.